Welcome back to the Abundant Practice Podcast. I'm your host, Allison Pereira. I'm excited to be here with Shayah Reed from virtualbalance.com. We're going to be talking about your therapy website and how to make sure it's bringing in as many clients as humanly possible. So thanks for being here, Shayah.
Thank you. Yeah. So at Virtual Balance, we're really passionate about guiding therapists step by step, ensuring that each brand, website, and organic marketing strategy is in harmony with their practice's mission and goals, and that it feels good. That's what it should be all about, right? And I also love how this kind of like ties in with like the mission of your podcast. You always talk about, building a sustainable and joy-filled practice. And I think that many therapists in particular feel really icky about marketing and business and money and
Mm-hmm.
are not taught anything about marketing in grad school, of course, or business. So it's lovely to have people like you and business coaches that support them. And then what we really love doing is helping with the marketing piece. And I feel that truly having a joy-filled practice, as you always speak about, also means that your marketing and the business side of running your practice should feel good too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ideally, all of it's feeling like very even and like not stressful. And like you figured out systems, you figured out what works, and that you can't figure out what works and you can't feel great in your practice if you don't have clients. So
Hmm.
making sure that that website is well honed and really speaks to them makes a huge difference. And you work with folks kind of across the
Yes.
wellness space, right?
We do, yeah. So we specialize in the health and wellness industry
Mm-hmm.
and medical as a whole, but I would say probably 70% of our clients are therapists. And
Mm-hmm.
then we also work with, naturopathic doctors, chiropractors, acupuncturists, um, which sometimes the marketing strategies we suggest change a little bit across industries within the wellness space. So I do feel like our expertise does fit and align very well with therapists just because we have worked with so many. We opened the business in 2019, and since then, I have an amazing team of women. We're all like women owned and operated, based out of Canada. We work with clients across Canada and the US. We've had over 400 clients now. So lots of therapists, and we have lots
Mm-hmm.
of advice to help with your website and branding. Those are our two main services. And then we educate on mindful marketing and value-based marketing,
Awesome.
which will all kind of like tie in with what we're talking about today with
Yeah.
websites.
Yeah. Let's dive in.
Okay, so a few things I just want to start with before we like get into the really juicy stuff, is like some mistakes I see therapists making with their websites and even large therapy clinics. When I look at the like large practice websites, I'm kind of like, oh, like why are they doing this? Like, and these just like little things can make a big difference. So I just want to go over a few of those first.
Yeah.
And so the first thing is like really clean and easy navigation. A lot of therapists we see just have like so many pages on their website and so much information to share. They put everything in the main navigation menu on their website, and it's just super overwhelming. You have to remember, like, when people are landing on your website, they're already feeling overwhelmed, they're stressed, they're anxious, they're depressed, they want help. So we need to make it super easy for them to find their way around their website, find the services that they need, and book with you. So cleaning up your navigation, only having like your main pages in the navigation, and making use of drop downs. For your services. You can link other pages like in your footer or throughout your website. You can have like buttons and link text to direct people to other pages, which can help with user experience, but please don't put them all in your main navigation.
Yeah. And to clarify for people who are like very not techie at all, navigation is like that menu at the top,
Yes.
or the little like three-line drop down. You don't want it to be like 37 things because it does. It clutters your website. It is overwhelming. It doesn't clearly
Hmm.
show where you want people to go next.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, the next easy thing that you can change immediately is photos. So with photography, if you hire like a professional brand photography to get some professional photos of you or your office, that's great. Just keep your brand colors in mind because we've had some clients who are like, my favorite color is yellow, but it doesn't, and they'll wear like yellow and have yellow in their photos, but it doesn't match the branding on their website. So when you put the photos on the site, it's not cohesive and they just are kind of clashy. Um, So keeping your brand colors in mind when you have photography done. And then also something we see a lot in the health and wellness space, especially with therapy, is people using like photos of very sad looking people or like
Hmm.
depressed or anxious. So we always tell people to actually, and I think they do this because they want to make the person who's visiting the website like feel relatable, like, oh, I feel like that right now. But actually, what we want them to relate to is where they're going to go, where they're going to feel. So we want to show like happy people.
Yes.
If you work with family or children, like groups of happy people or happy families, not
Mhm.
like two parents, arguing with like a kid looking sad, like standing beside them, I've seen so
Yeah.
many photos like that. So happy, smiling people, and just keeping your brand colors in mind when you are hiring a photographer.
Yeah, I think that's so important. We call in my training, we call those like sad sack Sally photos. Like nobody
Okay.
wants to see that. Like show that you know the pain they're in with your words, but the way that
Hmm.
our brains process images, like we want faces and we want like the goal.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
want the
where they're
goal of how they want to
going.
feel. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you do have a physical location, having some nice images of your office or the building is a good idea too. But we want to use those sparingly as well. If you have some pictures of you sitting in the office or like if you have another therapist on your team or your admin, that's great. But it does relate more on a subconscious level to have like people and happy people in photos opposed to like empty rooms as well.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great point. And seeing the space helps those anxious clients who
Mm-hmm.
like they're the ones that look at the menu before they go to the restaurant. They're the people who are looking up parking beforehand. Like you're saving them a
Yeah.
step. Let's make it
They know what
easy.
to expect. Yeah, they
Hmm.
know where they're going. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are important too. And then the other thing, which surprisingly, I not with group practices or large clinics, but with individual therapists, private practices, like people working on their own who are just getting started, a lot of people don't want to have an online booking system. And they're like, I'm just going to have someone fill out the form, the contact form on my website. You also have to be really careful about that with privacy and like HIPAA laws and people putting in too much information into a form that's like not privacy protected.
Right.
So that's one thing to be aware of. But also, we find that our clients who do implement an online booking system have way more bookings come in on a regular basis than people just who have a contact form. So we
Mhm.
always tell people like, let's make it easy. You can put all of your services in there, have individual links for each of your therapists if you do have a team, and just making booking really easy. So if somebody has to fill out a form and they're in the moment, then and they're feeling like, okay, I need help right now. I'm going to fill out this form. And then maybe they're doubting therapy or they've never been to therapy before. Maybe it takes you a day or two to get back to them. And by the time you do that to set an appointment, they're like, actually, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm going to book right now. That's happened a lot as well. So we just want to like remove that friction and the second chance for them to be like, no, I don't need it right now. It's way more likely that if they book on their own and they book the appointment right away, that they'll keep it and show up for it. Of course,
Mhm.
some people do cancel, but we've just found in working with our clients and their practices that the online bookings do have a way better rate of people showing up.
Yeah. And so I know the rebuttal a lot of people are thinking of right now is like, well, what if it's not a good fit client? So to those folks, I want to say, like, they come in for an intake. That doesn't mean you're their therapist.
Right.
Like you do
Hmm.
your intake, and if they are not a good fit for you, then at the end of the intake, you say, there's this therapist across town, or there's this therapist down the street that I think would be a better fit for you. In fact, I want to give you a list of 3 people because I'm going to be able to, I want you to reach your goals. And I know it's going to
Hmm.
take me much longer as a therapist to get you there, or I'm not
Yeah.
trained in the things that will get you there. And I would rather you get where you want to go than hold on to a client that's going to take too long to get better. So
Yeah.
you can refer out from
That's
an
great.
intake.
Yeah, and I think that people really appreciate that honesty too, opposed
Yeah,
to you taking them on and then not having a good experience in therapy or and you not having a good experience as a therapist, right?
right.
So, and Allison, I also love that you mentioned like giving 3 referrals because I think that is that like an ethical thing? Even with doctors, I always hear that with naturopathic doctors we work with who refer therapists, they have to give 3. Is
Yeah, it's a
that,
thing.
yeah.
It's a thing in
Okay.
therapy. And
Yeah.
fact of the matter is, so many of the people we refer to are also full. So it's good to give a few just in case.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. Yeah, and I also love this because what happens when you give someone three therapists as referrals, they're going to go look at everyone's websites.
Hmm. Yep.
And so a lot of people say, well, all of my clients come from webs or come from referrals, but they're also judging you or deciding if they're going to work with you based on your website. So
Yes.
when they have three therapists that that they were referred to, they might not say, I chose that therapist because of their website design, but that's going to be the first impression they have of you in your practice when they look at you
Hmm.
online. So that's also a big point as to why you want your website to really be authentic to what you're offering, and position you as if it's a good fit as the person for them to hire and to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was given three referrals by my midwife right after I had my oldest daughter and had postpartum depression, one of the referrals was just a phone number on a card, which I didn't even entertain the idea, right? Like, I'm not going to just call somebody I feel like this, and I'm not just going to call some stranger that I can't check out first. The other
Yeah,
person had kind of an old, like, creaky looking website that wasn't niche. Like, postpartum depression was in a long list of presenting
other
concerns that they
things.
treat.
Hmm.
And then the person I ended up going with, her entire website was clean, easy navigation for my exhausted brain. And it was like, perinatal mood disorders are all I treat, is what it screamed at me. And I know what I'm
Yeah.
doing and I can help you. So it was a no-brainer for me to go with that third option.
Yeah, I love that point too. It does make it a no-brainer. And we also have a lot of clients who, when they first come to us and they're just starting up their practice and we're figuring out, their branding, their logo, their business name, the messaging, the wording, the website, and putting everything together for them. We have a lot of people who are very hesitant to niche or have a specialty.
Mhm.
And this just makes it, like you said, a no-brainer for someone who is in your looking for support in the area that you serve. It makes it a no-brainer for them to want to work with you above like someone else who maybe offers that, but it's not their specialty or the main thing, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, we love niching. Very important.
Makes a world of difference for folks.
So, yeah, so easy, clean navigation, super important. Be mindful of your photos. Online booking will make a world of a difference. Also, we do have some practices who, there is some people out there who will say, I don't want to book online, I want to call someone, or I want to fill out a contact form. So what we've done is like we make a booking page on the website and it says, choose how you'd like to book with us. We have a phone number, says you can call us here. We have like an intake form or like, which is kind of like a contact form, just with like basic information for them to input. Or we have option three, book online yourself right now.
Mhm.
So we do have those like booking pages for people to give their website visitors options. And to our surprise, or not surprise, most people still do the online booking themselves. Of course, the odd person will call or fill out the form, but the online booking does seem to be most popular.
Yeah. Well, and as we think about like how many of us are on the phone anymore, right?
Hmm.
Like it generationally, like most of the people looking for therapy in this day and age are not phone people. And so it should not be surprising that people don't want to get on the phone. I think a lot of therapists want to get on
Unfortunately,
the
but
phone.
yes.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of therapists want to get on the phone. And you can, if that's important to your practice that you talk to them beforehand, that's still something you can keep like as the
Hmm.
boundary and as the rule.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
like
Part of your
if
process.
yeah, and if you're
Hmm.
just doing those consult calls because other people doing consult calls and not because it's important to you, then drop it and throw a widget on your website so that people can book online.
Yeah, exactly. That's the beautiful thing about being a business owner and having your own practice. You can make, you know, processes and things and have things in place that work for you and how you want to operate and do business. So
Absolutely.
that's
Yeah.
lovely. Okay, and then the next like kind of easy thing you can implement before we get into the main thing I want to share is your content and your messaging. So don't overload people on your website with too much text and information. We want to space out text and paragraphs and make it easy for them to skim. You can also make use of like bolding, italicizing, and underlining words to make certain things stand out. And again, just remembering like they're already feeling overwhelmed or stressed or anxious or mad, whatever it is when they land on your website. Even if you have little pages, like a small amount of pages, and they're easy to navigate, we still don't want to have a lot of content overloading those pages. So we need to find a way to say more with less and get the point across, to connect with people and let them know they're in the right place. I think this also in the health and wellness space and therapy is difficult because therapists are so well educated and they have so much to share, especially if they've been on their own like personal mental health journey. And we want to share all of this information with people so that they feel connected to us and they know like you're educated and you're a specialist in a certain area. But we need to, again, say more with less. That's something we work with our clients on with their websites as well. It's just like pulling back a lot of the fluffy stuff that doesn't need to be there. And again, just not wanting to overwhelm people who are on your website. And then with your content and messaging, we want to kind of take them along a little bit of a journey. And this is easier with actually private practice clinicians than like group therapy practices because you can talk a little bit about like, I know where you're at. I understand how you feel. You know, even I've been there before. I think that's really important too. Like therapists are not like, you know, angel people who have never been through mental health issues.
Mhm.
And I think connecting with your clients on that level is really important too. But we always want to tie it back to them. So not making it too much about you and what you do and what you offer, but like how you're going to help them, knowing where they're at, how they feel, and like bringing them along this like transformational journey in your writing, about first connecting like with them, where they're at, where they're struggling, like what you can work through to help them, how you've helped other clients. Of course, you know, sharing this with confidentiality, not saying like any particular names, but just like types of things you helped your clients through in the past and what they're experiencing now and what this new potential client can be experiencing after working with you as well. So really kind of weaving that in through all of the copy um, on your website. And we feel that really helps with the connection and just like making people feel that they are in the right place and that you're going to be the one who can support them along this journey. When they can see themselves in that, it also encourages them to book.
Yeah.
Yeah. So content is very important, getting these points across in little words.
Mhm.
And then also having individual service pages for all of your services. So this also can help with not having an overload of content or information on one page. See a lot of people who have like a DIY website when they come to us and they're wanting to do a website redesign and they have like a services page or work with me or how I can help you. And they have like 10 different types of therapies and modalities and everything listed out on one page. Again, that's really overwhelming for someone who is looking for help and they start reading through it and they're like, they don't even know what like EMDR is and like all these things, which we'll talk about too, using like layman's terms to talk about your services.
Mhm.
Um, so we always suggest having separate pages for the types of therapy that you offer or types of modalities and types of services. And not only does this help for user experience, it is also a really good bonus for Google because when you have individual service pages, about one service. Let's use EMDR as an example. Again, you work with people on trauma and use EMDR as a modality. When someone searches for that on Google, it's way easier for Google to match the content on that page with someone's search. Whereas if someone is searching for EMDR therapy, Google's going to see your service page with 10 different services on there and be like, I don't really know if I should match the search with this page because there's like so much other information on here. If you
Mhm.
just have one page with that content, it's way easier for Google to be like, okay, this is what they're looking for. So it can help
Yeah.
you rank better for certain terms too.
Mhm. And I'll say too, like we talk about, like we don't want to use words to use words. You know, like we had talked earlier about keeping it as short as it can be. But if you're trying
Hmm.
to get ranked for SEO, often you are going to have to write more words than is necessary. But we got to
Yeah.
keep it tight anyway, right?
Hmm.
We got to keep it the things our clients actually care about. Your clients likely don't want a full explanation of exactly what EMDR is and how it works. Most clients aren't looking for that. They're looking for how EMDR is going to help them. And so
Yeah,
weaving it into
exactly.
their problem helps them see the
Hmm.
value in it.
Yeah.
Because their friend or their cousin was like, you should try EMDR. And then they Google and find you. Make it make
Hmm.
sense for them without it being like a history lesson of how EMDR came to be.
Yes, yes, has to still be really be like valuable content and relatable to, you know, the types of people you want to work with and what they're struggling with.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Okay, and then since now we're on the topic of kind of like Google and content, this is the main thing I wanted to discuss that really makes a big difference for our clients, and it's having an organic content strategy with your website. So we specialize in like design and marketing, website design and branding, and then educating on mindful marketing and organic content. And sometimes when I talk about organic content, people are like, what does that even mean? So I'll just say like the difference between like paid advertisement, paid content, and organic content. Paid would be like paid ads on like Instagram or Facebook or Google Ads. You're paying someone to like boost, you're paying a platform to boost your content, which can be great short term. I know a lot of our clients have used ads and they get really great results from that, but you have to also keep paying for it. When you stop, then the leads stop. So it
Mhm.
can get expensive over time if you don't have a big budget for ads. And the nice thing with organic content is that you're not paying any platforms to like boost you up. You're just writing value-based content that people genuinely want to read and is genuinely helpful. And you are posting this on your website on a consistent basis via a blog. Sometimes we do work with our clients to create like different landing pages and satellite pages using organic content to help them rank on Google, but it's typically through a blog. That's how we get the best results. And this also applies to, Instagram and Facebook. If you're not paying for ads to be boosted up, you have to have genuine, valuable content that people want to see. And that's how
Mhm.
people grow audiences on social media, right? So that's just kind of the two differences between like paid and organic content. And one thing I see here is like we always tell our clients to use your website as a content hub. So that should be like the hub, the basis of where like all of your content is created and hosted, and you can repurpose it from there. Because a lot of our clients think, oh my gosh, like I'm so busy with my practice, I don't have time to write blogs all the time, and then make an email newsletter, and then make social media content. So what we say is if your website is your content hub, you're posting a blog either once a week, bi-weekly, or once a month, just as much as you can manage. Then you repurpose that content. So you're not writing new content for social media. You're just repurposing it a little bit to create that content on social or in an email newsletter. So it really is not that much work to put out all this content. And the nice thing about the blogs is like, unlike the paid ads, is it's always going to be there. And actually, sometimes the longer a blog is there, the more valuable it becomes and the more it starts ranking. Like some of the blogs we've written for our clients years ago are still getting them ranked on page one of Google. So
Mhm.
it's like a one and done thing. You can always go back and edit blogs, of course, but you don't have to keep paying like for ads. You do it once and you're going to benefit from it forever. So it is a little bit of a long-term strategy, definitely more time consuming than ads,
Mhm.
but worth it in our opinion.
Yeah, yeah. And I love a twofer where it's like a blog, but you also have a video on it for the video
Hmm.
people that don't read
Videos are great. Hmm.
because it like helps people connect, but you're also getting the SEO benefits that come with writing. So,
Yes. Yeah,
yeah.
so for videos, we actually tell our clients to create a YouTube account and
Hmm.
host it on YouTube because Google owns YouTube. So then you can
Hmm.
actually, your video can come up and search on Google and YouTube, and then just embed the YouTube video onto your blog is
Yes.
typically what we do with our clients. Yeah. And then also, so this is also like we see a lot of our clients who are now on social media, which is great. A lot of therapists are using Instagram a lot more than like maybe 10 years ago, I see. But they're creating so much content for social media and then they're not doing anything with their website. Also, a lot of clients will put up a website and then like never touch it or edit it. And for us, like this is the worst thing. You always want to be editing and adding and updating your website and adding blogs to it. So we had a TikTok ban. Like what? I'm not sure what happened with TikTok a
Like
couple
12
days
minutes.
ago.
Yeah.
I think it's back up again now, but like
Yeah.
that's just an example of like you don't own that platform. So if Instagram shut down and you have all this amazing like therapy advice on there for your clients, then you don't have access to it anymore and you lose it. So at least if you started by creating the content on your website and using the website as your content hub, if Instagram disappeared, you would still have all of those blogs on your website where the content originated from.
Mhm.
So that's another nice piece to remember with social media as well. And when you are writing blogs, um, well, I mentioned earlier about saying, using layman's terms. So like some people will Google, EMDR and these terms, for example, but a lot of people don't. What is most common in what people are searching for is like symptom aware topics. So, why is this event or situation that happened to me 3 years ago, like always popping into my head at night and then I can't sleep? Like the people are Googling things like that. So we always tell our clients and help our clients to come up with um, um, symptom aware topics to blog about, and then problem aware topics. So you're moving them again through this journey. So in one blog post, if you're using the main keyword as like a topic that is symptom aware, then you discuss that and how this could be the problem. And then solution aware, like these can be some solutions that could help with it, and then practice aware as well. So that at the end, you're like making them aware of your practice, that you offer these solutions, you've helped people before, and you could support them and you can book here. So that's
Mhm.
kind of like what we do with the blogs and how we tell our clients to write the blogs as well. So you're kind of covering like all of those bases.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
I think it's important because a lot of therapists and even naturopathic doctors will write a lot about, these terms, which is great. Like some people are Googling those things. If they have someone who's in therapy, a friend who mentions this term, they're going to Google what it is. But a
Mhm.
lot of people are also just looking up, their symptoms and trying to find solutions that way.
Yeah. And I think
Yeah.
like just in general, writing the way you talk, because we're not
Hmm.
we're not using the $10 words in session most of the time. And so if we can go in to our blog posts or our specialty pages or whatever, writing the way we actually talk, we're also going to pull in better fit clients.
Hmm.
But sometimes it is work to like de-academicize your brain when you're writing, when you've been in
Oh, I
grad
love that.
school for so long.
De-academicized. Yeah.
Just made it, TM.
Yeah,
Yeah, it,
absolutely. And therapists, it's so great for you guys because you have this inside knowledge and information about what you're talking about with your clients in session. And of
Mhm.
course, you don't like ever share that information, but you can use that information to be like, this is coming up among a few of my clients. I'm going to write a blog post about it,
Yes.
or a social media post or things like that. So keeping that in mind with your content creation as well.
Yeah, it really sets us up to be excellent marketers because we know how our clients think and feel. We don't have to guess. And we
Hmm.
know the things underneath what they think and feel too. So like it it really primes us in a way that widget sellers don't have the benefit of the same
Yeah.
intel that we do.
You have the inside knowledge. Like we do a lot of SEO research to figure out what people are searching for, and we do create like blog post outlines based on SEO research. But a lot of the times it is very much in line with the ideas that our therapy clients will be like, well, what if we write about this? And we're like, okay, let us check. And then we do the research on it and we find it is actually in line with what people are bringing up in session. So I find that that's really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Amazing. Well, I'm going to make sure that folks have a link so that if they're needing some website help, they can make it easy. That'll be in the show notes. And thank you so
absolutely.
much, Shayah. I really appreciate the conversation. I think it'll help head people in the right direction.
Thanks, Allison. This was really fun.
Take care.